we are inside our Linux, which is the parrot OS, and in this part we are going to learn about the assembly basic syntax. Okay, and so we are going to first open our terminal, and then inside our terminal we are going to, let me open a new terminal. Okay, so we are going to open a new terminal. Let's wait for it to start. So we have started, and if we type print working dir, print working directory, as you can see we are inside home user directory. Okay, so let us create our own directory. Okay, so we are going to create a directory using mkdir for make directory. We are going to name it basic. Okay, like that, and then we are going to go inside our basic like that. Okay, and inside here I'm going to create a file that I'm going to use to illustrate some of the commands, some of the keywords. Okay, the assembly keywords. Okay, so I'm going to create a file. I'm going to use nano, and I'm going to name it let me name it basic.asm.assembly. Okay, .asm. Okay, like that. So I'm going to press enter. So there are some of you, let me zoom a little bit. Okay, so that you can see everything clearly like that, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, so I'm now inside. Okay, I'm now inside inside our GNU Nano editor. Okay, so let us take a look at the basic syntax of assembly. Okay, so an assembly program can be divided into three sections. Okay, we have what we call the BSS section, the data section. We have the first one, which is the data section, and we have another one which is the BSS section, and another one which is the text section. Okay, like that. Okay, so let us first take a look at the data section. Okay, so the data section is used for declaring initialized data or constants. Okay, and this data does not change at runtime. You can declare various constant values, file names, or buffer size, and many others in this section. Okay, so the syntax for declaring the data section is like this. We don't just write the data like that. We use the section keyword, and then dot data like that. Okay, or we can decide to use another one. Instead of section, we can use segment. Okay, because this is a segment. Okay, so we can use the segment keyword like that. Okay, so from there, let us take a look at the BSS section. Okay, so the BSS section is used for declaring variables. The syntax for declaring BS section is like this. We can use segment dot BSS like that, or we can use the section. Okay, section dot BSS like that. Okay, so I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm not feeling well. Okay, so let us take a look at the text section. Okay, so this section is used for keeping the actual code, and this section must begin with the declaration of the global main. Okay, and this one tells the kernel where the program execution begins. Okay, so let us see how we can use it, how we can declare it. Okay, so we can declare it using the section keyword, section, use section dot text, or we can use segment dot text like that. Okay, and it begins by using this declaration, or by declaring the global using the global keyword, and then we write the label that where the program execution is going to begin. Okay, and labels, they are like blocks. Okay, that block of codes that we can jump into. Okay, in our program. Okay, so we can call it main like that. We can have our label code main. We shall talk about labels in future parts. Okay, but just know they are just like block of codes. Okay, block of code that we can jump into in our assembly program. Okay, so for those who know about programming, I think you all know, you have all done programming in different programming languages. Okay, or in other programming languages. Okay, and I think you know what is a function. Okay, so this one acts as our labels. Okay, in assembly acts like functions. Okay, So and from there, so this one you can change the main. We can have a label called start. We can have we can have this label called underscore start. Okay, and this is the official main the official starting point, okay, of any assembly program. Okay, and if you use this one as when it comes to like assembling, you won't get any error. Okay, when you use this one. Okay, but when you decide to use like main or like start, you might get a simple error which won't lead to corruption of your program. Okay, it will that error will come. Okay, but your program will run. Okay, if you try to link. Okay, so we shall take a look at all those concepts of assembling, linking in other parts. Okay, but let's first understand these sections. Okay, so from there we can have okay, from there we can have our label. So we can go down here and we can have our label called start, like that. Okay, and anything below this line is will be executed under the underscore start label. Okay, so let us take a look at comments. Okay, so assembly language comment begins with a semicolon. Okay, and it may contain any printable character, including a blank and others. Okay, so it can appear on a line by itself, or it can appear on a line where the code where you wrote your code. Okay, so for example, where you wrote your instructions or codes. Okay, so for example, it might be like this. So you can have, this is a comment like this. Okay, and this line is not going to affect. Okay, this is not this line doesn't contain any instruction that's going to be executed or that's going to be assembled or compiled. Okay, so for example, if we have semicolon at the start, and then we have some instruction that move ex into 1, this is not going to affect, okay, your code. Okay, as you can see. So you know about comments. Okay, so this is a single line comment, and in assembly we have only single line comments. Okay, so like that. Okay, like that. Or you can have your instruction like move ex to 1, like that, and then you have your comment for that line. For example, this is the system exit, like that. Okay, exit code, like that. Okay, like that. Okay, so in the next part we shall take a look at the assembly language statements. Okay, so thank you.